Morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? It's 5:38 in the morning. I'm not here. I'm a filament of your imagination. It's July 1st. It's the official weekend, and at 2023, we're in for it. This is the Weaver Jonesy of Roseman, California. You're a zombie out here. Well, not exactly sleep deprived. I did have a few hours of sleep at least, thank God. But I never did go over some of the stuff that, I mentioned a few things, but not just enough of it. I mean, I had a favorite actor of mine pass away a while ago, and it hurt like hell. But I just didn't bother to realize the pain or anything else regarding it. Alan Arkin, saw this guy when he was doing the. I think I talked about him a little bit, though, in my last video. It's just. I expected this guy to live forever, almost like Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is almost pushing 100. And it's going to be a national sorrow here because once he leaves, he'll be leaving a long line and a long legacy. It's like if Rob Reiner passes away, we're in for it there too. Comedies, geniuses. They even knew Alan Arkin. I don't know how, but I probably knew him anyway. And I was just not into the politics because sometimes just hearing and getting saturated by it too much, it was just driving me nuts. But Circle, I mean, not Circle, but Alan, God bless him, Alan Markin. That was one of the weirdest dudes I ever seen, and I watching him as a kid. The movie came out of In-Laws. My brother and I were watching it on cable. I mean, it came out in the theaters, but we never did see it in the theaters. We saw it on cable. Some of the music would stay in my head for years on that one. The car chases that they would have, oh, that stayed in the head. And I'm looking at the guy who did Columbo with Alan Arkin, and Alan was doing some comedy films. As I said, one was called Simon, a scientist. If I remember part of the gist of it, I hadn't seen this movie in decades, but I'm going by memory in this one. And he put himself into a sensory deprivation chamber. And somehow he came out as if maybe he was an alien or something like that. Not with powers, but just comedy or thing saying or anything else like that. It's just being very intellectual. And somehow he had this other guy, this other scientist, a rival, driving him crazy. I really would have to see this movie again just to get the gist of it. All I remember is elements of the film and the comedic genius of it. I remember more of the in-laws than I remember about that particular movie of Simon, but it was still a cool movie. I didn't understand comedy all that much, but I saw it and I was like laughing my head off and just didn't even bother to understand the joke. And the in-laws was like that as well. I mean, yeah, they did have people um, being shot at, and just watching the whole thing was just a masterful. It's just a masterpiece. You had a dentist, his family going to be marrying a spy's family. Peter Falk's character was a CIA operative, but operated a different business that the family, you know, got lied to about all the time. And he was out there trying to bust a international money laundering cartel. Guy's going to be making fake money and blowing up the American and the world's economy by using plates. And the only way for Falk to get, you know, to get this uh, cartel busted was to steal the U.S. plates. That's how it starts off in the movie. Very congenial, and it was just interesting seeing this thing. And the only place he can actually hide him is at an in-law's basement. And he gets the in-laws into it. As soon as as soon as the U.S. government got wind, the in-laws were targeted by the federal government, and the character of Alan Arkin Shelby, it's only for Cornpeck, I think that was it. He gets involved with a chase, and he's off in the races. And the next thing you know, um, he's got flames on a car. Goes into a body shop. I mean, he's getting chased by feds, and he comes out of a body shop with flames on his car. He's seeing all this Art Deco, and he's just standing there like a. He's paying the guy for it, and he's. Sometimes he'll be animated enough. And I got flames on my car. I got flames on my car. Shelby, I want you to go over to this area in New Jersey. Why do I want to go to New Jersey? I got flames on my car. I think you'll find it very interesting that you'll go to New Jersey. I want you to go to this airport here. So, the major scene I see on the film is he boards a private jet with Vince. He was supposed to go to one area, but Peter Falk lies about that. While the family is getting interrogated or just watched by the federal government because of the U.S. Treasury plates have already been recovered. Well, maybe one plate actually. How? Okay, I remember how the government got into him. This one lady brings the wife of Shelby brings it over to a bank. Wonders what to do with it. Whoops. That's where they get the government on their ass left and right. They don't have anything else, just one plane. So in the airplane, they're going to a Caribbean island off of Latin America, basically. And the next thing I'm hearing and seeing is they're landing on an airstrip. They have bad guy shooting after him. Shelby's like, Falcon going, Serpentine, Serpentine, as he's running like this. And that's what they did. I mean, they get to a car that the driver just got shot. I mean, it was it was like, oh my god, but then it's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be a comedy on this one. And to see the comedy team of Falk and Arkin just doing a serpentine, trying to get to the car, driving the sniper crazy, and they finally get into the car, and the car leaves off, and they go to a hotel. And Arkin's having enough time. I mean, he's having a bad time. He has enough with this guy. He doesn't want anything to do with him. And he sees Arkin in trouble in a cab because there's going to be some kind of bad guy ready to wipe him out. Arkin says, "Oh shit, I really." Bats gets on top of the damn car, and the car's going, and And it says, "You came back, fans!" it The movie was priceless. The movie is priceless. I mean, sometimes you'd have to hunt for it on cable if it's still out there, or for the DVD. But I think portions of it are on YouTube if you're lucky enough. I mean, you got to find it streaming somewhere. This is better than the remake, I think, because the original was just a classic. It's even more classic when you see on a street, or actually on a highway, that they keep going in circles trying to get rid of the bad guy until they get to a truck full of bananas. Full of bananas. I don't know how the hell they do this one. And Peter Falk shoots the truck back in a couple of times. There goes the back end. There goes the bananas. And the bad guy goes. And at the end, you expect these guys to get rewarded for all their hard deed? No, because the guy running the whole show is a military general. He's insane. He's basically insane at this point over here. So, at the end, they're lining up in a firing squad, and Peter Falk is pleading for his friend. Can he get a bandana? We got no room for the bandana at this one. We got no time. Oh. At least, General, get him a cigarette. He needs to calm down at this point over here. I am trying to do this thing at this point over here, and you doing. I'm not get him a bandana, get him a cigarette over here. The next thing you know, the CIA comes in and saves their ass. And the one thing that they never told the CIA is the money that the general was going to be using. Half of that money went to the two guys, and they drive off laughing their asses off while the CIA guys, the section chief, is just wondering what's going on. Next thing you see is last end of the movie is the wedding that they have. Not the Cornpex, but over at the actually I think it was. And the son of Peter Falk was going to marry the daughter of Alan Arkin's character. The most masterful thing about this one is the in-laws come in with a helicopter, and they are on a winch, and they're being dropped down sitting in Texas. And at the end of the movie, you get Carmen Dragon, a famous conductor, doing the wedding theme. It was so big they didn't even realize what was going on. So it's a cute movie. It was done back in the 70s without all the great special effects or anything else like that, and it was just a great movie, and I loved it. And Peter Falk was outstanding on the damn thing. I mean, it's one thing seeing him as Inspector Columbo in the 70s when he was all serious. And, by the way, I just had one question, just one question. How the hell do you have me to do this thing? This is very good. This is a very good piece. I like how they do this piece. Oh, that was from the in-laws. But what he did for Columbo is a different thing altogether. So, I don't know. I just feel like it was just a movie to be talked about and explained. Now, as I said about the other movie, Simon never really made it into the hearts and minds of people because they barely remember what the hell a film was. It would be repeated every once in a while on cable and then disappeared. And so did the in-laws, but every once in a while it would be brought back on one of the classic movie channels out there. It was just pure fun. Well, except for the gunshots and maybe a few people dying in there. And they didn't show any blood. They did not show any blood on this one. You know, when you shot the guy, they don't show the blood or any spatters like that. They just shot him. Okay, he flips over and he's dead. Okay, that's it. But there was so much comic genius out of this guy, and he was. I heard he was a very nice guy, so I'm going to miss that guy. I'm going to miss his work. But I'll tell you something, when it comes down for um, Mel Brooks, Mel Brooks is one of those legendary icons that hasn't died out yet. This guy is too loved down here, and maybe it's not time yet, but pure genius on this guy. I'd seen his works throughout my lifetime. He was even a comedy writer in the '60s for different television shows. So, comedy's his life. He turned his whole tragedy of his past, and turned it into a laughing stock. And he's forever remembered. And he's still alive. I don't know. I just thought I had to talk about that one. It was just begging to be talked.